14 years in the league. Joining us now, Gordon Hayward. First of all, thank you for the time, Gordon. I want to get right into it because you're recently retired, and I know for a lot of guys that is a very difficult moment to come to grips with. So how has it been? Have you sort of discovered things about yourself that you didn't have time to during the 14 years?
Well, thanks for having me on, guys. Yeah, you know what? It's been good so far. I can't believe it's already middle of January, like the season's halfway over. You know, I'm busier now than I was when I was playing. And I think a lot of people say that when they retire, because now I got no excuse to not do things that people ask me to do. So I'm pretty busy.
Gee, that's why you got to get into TV, man. I tell my wife all the time, I got to watch this game. I'm working, babe. You put the kids down.
That's true. That's true.
You mentioned that some teams, though, are still interested when you hung it up. I know you're still working out and training. Is there a chance that you sign on with a team this year, or it's a wrap?
No, there's no chance. There's no chance. I'm pretty satisfied right now just being where I'm at. I picked up golf.
There it is.
I suck at golf, but you know, I'm trying to do something different. I'm actually transitioning to be a coach and fourth grade girls basketball.
Oh,
so
there we go.
That's been a whole nother journey. But I'm good, man. I don't think I'm coming back.
Well, you mentioned golf. That's pretty much all I do now. Geez.
Chandler's trying to get me out there and play some golf.
Yeah,
so my swing sucks. So
when you're in LA,
yeah, Lou, you got to just get out there and try it, man. Because it's like a challenge, and once you get it, you're like, man, I have to be better than these other people.
Oh,
so.
for sure, for sure. And now, gee, I know when I retired, there's certain things I missed just the most about the game, about the camaraderie, about the hang. What do you personally just miss the most ever since you stepped away?
Yeah, it's definitely what you're talking about. Some of the relationships you build. I mean, you're with your teammates more than you are your family, and you're on the road, and you're going out to eat, and you're just doing different activities, and it's. I mean, that's the stuff that you miss. Being in the locker room after games on a big win, or you know, when you're frustrated and having it out with teammates too. Like you just miss that stuff because you don't ever really get that back. And so for me, that's the stuff that for sure I miss the most, and also miss the games. You know, you miss the competing. Certainly don't miss practices or training camps or anything like that, but the games, you know, miss being in those big time moments.
Gordon, when you first got to Baylor, you know we have a mutual friend in Avery Jukes. Do you remember me texting your phone and giving you some inspiration? Do you remember that?
I do remember that, and you know, Avery was like. So I think he was a junior when I was a freshman, but we were in all the classes together. So we would have arguments about schoolwork and all that. Avery was a great teammate of mine. And yes, I do remember that. He, you know, anytime you got somebody from the NBA texting your phone, like it's a big deal. I felt like I was pretty cool.
What's the inspiration?
A guy I went to high school with by the name of Avery Jukes, they went to college together at Butler, and Avery's like, hey, I have this teammate. His name's Gordon Hayward, man. He's really good. Can you, like, text him and, like, give him some inspiration and, like, look out for him? So I did, and he turned out to be Gordon Hayward.
Was it genuine or was it, like, snarky? Like, it was like a real...
I have a great relationship with Avery, and if he has a heart of gold. He's a great guy. And so him caring about him, I was like, sure, for sure I'll reach out, man.
Awesome.
So I wanted to know that you remember that. But
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Man,
you know what? Things like that, too. When I was in the league, too, I remembered... Like you texting me, I think I got a text from Andy Roddick when I got drafted, and it was like when you're in the moment, you guys know, like sometimes you forget, like the kids that are in high school or junior high, like even just a text or a quick video or whatever, that it means so much. And so that meant a lot to me too as a young kid.
That's what's up, man. And we just talked about retirement. But you love your video games, and you used to stream. Now that you have more time, do you link up with other guys? Do you guys get on the stream and play the video games, or who's some guys that like the games?
You know what? I have not been playing as much now because I got all this other stuff that I'm doing. I
was about to say you got 4 kids running around the house, man.
I got 4 kids, so I get yelled at for that too much. But what's interesting is when I first came in the league, you know, there was only the young guys played video games. A lot of the older ones didn't play. And now it's like I think everybody plays video games, no matter what. Like on all the teams, it's like a generational thing. And
they're traveling
so
with them
it's
now.
way different.
But I'm telling you, when I was top man, you would see they bring the consoles, they wear the backpack, and like. Which, by the way, as a coach, you're probably like, yes, because that guy's not going out.
He's not going out.
He's not drinking. He's playing video games tonight.
I like that.
For sure.
A much nerdier vibe. I like that. Okay, so Gordon, I'm normally anti-gender reveal as a general rule. I know we're going back one child before to do this, but it's because it's such a classic moment. Your response in this gender reveal. So let's go ahead and play it for those who have not seen baby number 3.
This is a classic.
Hey, Daddy, can you help me?
Help me.
Okay.
Ready? Whoa! It's a girl.
There's a kick. There's a kick coming up, I think.
You want a girl?
You were right.
You were right.
Is Daddy happy?
Look at him.
Is Daddy happy?
He's always happy.
Hilarious.
Okay, I mean, you were like an ultimate girl dad, but you got your little boy as well. Watching that now, though, that's a funny moment, dude.
It is funny, man. My girls are so big now. It's crazy to think how fast it goes. You know, I was so certain that baby was going to be a boy because, like, my wife's first 2 pregnancies and then that one were way different. And so I just had this gut feeling. I think I was telling myself, too, that it was going to be a boy. And it's, you know, Nora, who's that girl ended up being with Nora. She's awesome. She's like, if I had a power ranking, she's like number 1 right now. So I'm so happy that it's her.
Gee, I had my daughter was first, and I remember the second gender reveal. I was like, this 1,000. I just set myself up. No, it's gonna be a girl. So it was a boy. I was like, come on. Now we got one of each.
There you go.
No pressure on the third.
Yeah, you're good.
But man, I was terrified when it was.
What is wrong with you?
You know, as an athlete, as a guy, you want.
Oh, because of you.
Yeah,
you're you.
oh, for
right.
sure.
Yeah, that's a good point. Karma.
Gordon, I want to dive into your playing career, man. You started your career in Utah. 20-year-old, you had the floppy hair, and we always ask guys some of your early experiences. And you know, some of these guys are legendary for their trash talk, and you had a run-in with METTA World Peace early on. Can you set the scene for me? What happened there?
Yeah, man. I mean, so first off, you know, I grew up in Indiana, so like I was a big Ron Artest fan, and you know, he was known just as this. I mean, he's just big, strong. Like, you don't want to mess with this guy. And you know, we're in LA, and I was out there playing, and you know, Ron. I check in the game, and Ron like looks at me, and then looks at Kobe and looks at me, and is like, "Hey, forget whatever the play that we're running is. Give me the ball. I got this little scrawny guy on me."
Yep.
Exactly. Right when you go in. And he went right through my chest. I think I fouled him. I had 0 chance to guard him. You know, because back then too, it was so much more physical, and the wings were all in the post. Everyone was in the post. And yeah, so I think after the game, he said something about Justin Bieber or something, because I did have the floppy cut. So yeah, but had to bulk up after then. You don't really need to bulk up now. Everyone's trying to be fast and quick, but it's different back then.
Man, I played with METTA with the Lakers, and you talk about intense, super intense. And you played against a lot of different trash-talking guys, the KGs of the world. Chris Paul doesn't get the credit that he deserves for his trash talk. Any other memorable stories that stick out to you?
With trash talking, KG is legendary for it, but it was like a proud moment for me. Like, I think it was my second year or something, and we were in Boston, and I was playing, and he got switched out onto me, and so, you know, like the game kind of stops when you get like a big on you and everyone's looking at you to like go, and so it was just like us in that moment, and he starts like clapping like this, you know how he does. And I drove, and he shut me down, and so I had to like reverse pivot. And now he's barking like, "Yeah, not today." And I went back at him again, and I think I hit a jump shot, and I started barking back at him, saying some things I can't say on here. But like that that was like a moment I'll never forget for sure.
I feel like everyone's trash talking moment was with Kevin Garnett.
KG is 85% of everybody's
He's like the
trash
holy
talking.
grail of
I'm
trash
telling you, mine
talkers.
was at the free throw line when I was shooting free throw, and I thought but he was just talking to himself. He wasn't even talking to me.
Scary.
But he's just like, and I'm like, dude, this dude is nuts.
That's terrifying.
Yeah.
God, I love that
sure.
he's a part of everyone's memories. That's such a cool thing. All right, we got to go back to the Boston days. 2017, you signed a big deal. Kyrie's still there. It's kind of crazy to think back to sort of what they were about to become as well. But they just selected Jayson Tatum. Jalen Brown's young, up and coming. What was the pitch? What did they tell you to get you to go to Boston?
Well, actually, Kyrie wasn't there yet.
Oh, he wasn't there yet.
So Kyrie, so IT was in all of my trade talk, all of my like meetings for free agency. IT was in all of them. We went out to eat with IT and his wife. Al was there. So, originally before they made that trade, it would have been me and Al and IT. And then they drafted JT. They had JB, who they were both young, but then they still had Avery Bradley, Jay Crowder. They had like a bunch of other great veteran like role players. So that's kind of like what I went into it thinking. Brad was the main reason, and I've been on record saying that a bunch, like just really comfortable with Brad. But other than that, I felt like that would have been a great unit that I would be stepping into. And then I think it was like a week or two later after I signed, they traded IT for Kyrie. Still, great point guard and all that. But when that was like when I was there for meetings, it was with IT.
Oh,
so
Got it.
Gee, I have two questions about that. When you are playing with these young Jayson Tatum and Jalen Brown, did you know they would be this good now watching them today? Like, did you see it in practice or obviously early on in their career?
Yeah, so I could see initially when we were doing like our open gyms in September, like JT had it all back then, could score all three levels. It's like that natural scorer's feel. Like Lou, you always probably had that, where it's just like you go get a bucket no matter how someone's guarding you. If he got posted in the open gym, if it was on the 3-point line, they switched, whatever. I think JB was not as polished as Young offensively, but was so physical and had such a physical presence, you could tell he was going to be good too. Now, I think Kyrie's injury, just like pushed them on their path way faster. I think they were always going to get there, but the injury that I had, put them right there into the moments where instead of me or Kyrie having the ball, now they have the ball and they're getting that experience. And that's something you can't teach. And you just kind of have to go through. And so to go through that early, I think was great for their development. So I think, they would have always got there, but it just made it faster.
Much faster. How about the fact that Tatum, like a month ago, whatever, said he had thoughts back then that he would want to be traded because he didn't think he was going to get any run coming after you. Did you take that as a massive compliment?
Yeah, somebody sent that to me. That is cool to hear. I mean, I think, like I said, like I was an all-star, felt like I was at the prime of my career. Like we played the same position. Like I just said, it would have been, Coach Stevens probably would have been drawing plays for me instead of drawing plays for JT or for JB or whoever else, me or Kyrie. And, because I got hurt, it just, now he's getting the ball, you're just getting more opportunities. And that sometimes is all it takes.
So then, G, you're traded to Charlotte from Boston in 2020. So you go from this up-and-coming stud team. Describe that kind of transition to this rebuilding franchise and what that was like.
Yeah. Well, it was like, so, the Boston thing didn't really work out the way that I think everyone wanted. And for me, I felt like I wanted to, coming off the injury, I wanted to basically prove to myself that I could be the player that I was in Utah. And that was never going to happen in Boston just because we had so many dudes. We had so many guys. There's only one basketball. So much of the game for, I think, majority of players is about opportunity and having the ball. And I felt like choosing to go to Charlotte was an opportunity that I would have the ball. I would have much more of a responsibility. And it was a chance for me to help take a young team to the playoffs and try to get, a team that was right there on the edge to the playoffs. And, unfortunately, once you have one major injury, a lot of other ones keep coming. And so I kept ending seasons with injuries, but felt like I had some of my best years in Charlotte. I had career highs in Charlotte that I never had anywhere else. And so I felt like I did prove to myself that I was back to the player that I was. And that gave me some peace.
Yeah, you spoke about your injuries, and last year you went on record saying you really weren't on board with the OKC trade. Why you think it didn't work out there for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something where, you know, Charlotte's where I live now. It's where I wanted to be. It's where I wanted to stay. But it was an obvious move for them as a franchise. And, you know, I completely understood that. And I told, you know, both the front office and the people in OKC and coach, like, hey, I'm not trying to be traded somewhere where I'm just like ring chasing or sitting on the bench and not really playing. Like, I still feel like I can play and I want to play.
Right.
And so for me, when I got there, and I, you know, got to keep in mind, I hadn't played in 2 months. I had a calf strain. So I'm trying to come back from the calf strain. They're already really good. I think they were #1 in the West. And so, you know, it was just a thing where you know, I really didn't get acclimated into it. And by the end of the season, I really wasn't getting very many opportunities. So I just felt like it didn't work out for me there because of that. Like I said, they were already rolling. I really believe I could have helped them out a lot, you know, but just the way that it was in my situation, I just didn't really get that much responsibility, wasn't given that many opportunities. And, you know, so that's what I think happened. But they like I said, they were still rolling before I got there. Yeah. So.
And Sam Presti, he came out after you guys lost in the playoffs, and he said that trade was a miss and it was on him. That was his bad. How did it feel to hear that come from him?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, yeah. It's as you know, it's.
But it's always good to hear somebody say I messed up. You know,
for sure. And it's good to hear that from him, for sure. And you know, it's something where it's like, well, I guess it is what it is. Yeah, that was your bad.
Can we do the entrepreneurship? You've got do you guys know about this, by the way? So it's a cube-shaped basketball, which will help shooting form. Yeah. Right. So you got Paul George on as an ambassador.
I just saw this yesterday. That's his thing?
Yes. So okay. So talk to me. What am I looking at here? How's this work?
Yeah, so that's called form. Focus on repetitive motion, and really it helps get your. I mean, it helps you get your form right, but it really helps get your elbow and your wrist aligned. More than anything, your guide hand has to stay off of it. You know, so I got kids. I'm trying to teach them to shoot. When kids are learning to shoot, they always are using 2 hands like this. And so you want to get the left hand, the guide hand off of it. Your elbow and wrist have to be in if you want to shoot it straight. And you know, that device, that shooting tool, really helps that. And
can you dribble? Can you dribble the cube, or it's just
no? This is not. It's only for form. It's only for form. So basically, you would do it for 5 minutes before shooting, and it helps you. Like I said, it helps you lock in. And I felt like it's really helped. And you know,
Gordon,
we've had a bunch of positive feedback.
You're a very professional young man, because he just asked if you could dribble.
Well, I didn't know if it was a whole thing.
And you just went with it, and so I appreciate that.
Fair question.
People have asked me that before, so.
That was I mean, at least you didn't mess up IT.
You could try to dribble it if you wanted, but it's going to be like
you have some real handles if you can dribble that thing.
We appreciate it,
It's going to be like that drill where it goes all over the place. You got to react.
Yeah, exactly. We're on to something here.
Thank you. Thanks, Gordon. We'll be
Appreciate
right back.
it, brother.
What?
Run it up, run it back, 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 run it up, and run it back.